Hey guys, Luke here. I'm here to preview round 3 of the 2015 NRL season. We got 3 games, a super sad day. Let's go and have a look at all the games. So first up we got the Warriors and the Eels, then we got the Raiders taking on the Dragons, and then we got the Storm taking on the Sharks. So first game we'll do will be the Warriors, and they're at home. So we'll go with their team lineup first, as they're the home side. So we got Tomkins, Wright, Lolohea, Carter, Vadavai, Townsend, Johnson, Lillyman, Lulawai, Madalino, Thompson, Hoffman, Mannering, and the bench is Friend, Henry, Lissone, or Lissone, or whatever. We got Viti, and we got Orwood and one to be dropped off the bench, and it's probably Orwood like it was last week. The Eels lineup is Hopoate, Tautai, Morgan, Takarangi, Robinson, Norman, Sandow, Lussick, Peets, Mena, Mau, Moaroa, Watmo, and the bench is DeGoys, Paulo, Wicks, and Gower. Now, also with the Eels side, like I said in the previous video, if you haven't seen that, go check that out, Friday Night Football. But I'm recording this on a Tuesday night, so I'm not sure how accurate these teams going to be, because I'd say Eels have a few question marks. Sandow, Moaroa, to name a few. Takarangi even was a little bit dodgy last week. And I think Shaun Johnson's also in doubt for the Warriors. Can't be 100% sure. But yeah, let's go into talking about both the sides. Warriors, just once again, not very impressive. I don't know what's with the Warriors. Like, you expect them every year to come across to start the season well, and they just never do. And I mean, they usually finish off the season pretty well, but they really need to get those starts in order, or sorted out, I should say. Now, I know they did beat the Raiders, but let's be totally honest here. It's like the Sharks. When Raiders beat the Sharks, it's like, well, they hang in with them, but at the same time, it's like you're only competing against the Raiders. For the Warriors, I don't think they looked that impressive. They did win, but apart from this little 5-minute spell just after half time where Raiders were dropping the ball from the kickoffs, they couldn't do anything right. They couldn't even pass a ball. Like, they were awful for that little 5-minute spell, and then all of a sudden it was all Raiders again. Like, for the most part, you take out that 5 minutes. Now, I know it's hypothetical, you can't do that, but you take out that and you'd say Raiders were the better side. I thought Sam Tomkins did have a great game though. Johnson just hasn't really done. He hasn't done enough for me, and I don't know if that's because Townsend's there and Johnson's just feeling a lot more pressure. Also, maybe Lulawai at hookers, maybe not as dominant as like a Friend or something. I don't really know, and I can't figure it out. Johnson in the Four Nations looked awesome, but at the same time he's playing in a really, really, really good side. And also they're taking on some pretty average sides, and that includes Australia. They weren't that great. Moving on to the Eels, it's very hard to judge them. Just they had a lot of injuries. And I'm a Bulldogs fan, so took great interest in this game. From a Bulldogs perspective, the people who I found to be the most worrying were Moaroa, Manu Mau, so both the second rowers. And Sandow and Norman seemed pretty good. Apart from that, and Denny Wicks actually seemed very good. It's his first game back in a long time, and I can see him getting fit and beefed up has worked wonders for him. He looked very hard to tackle, like really, really, like I'm talking about like stupidly hard. He was pushing off all Bulldogs players. We know how big Bulldogs 4 pack is, but that's another video. You can go watch that other one. The actual Eels side, I don't think they looked that great. It took a few little moments of magic from Mau, I should say, to go through. Also, there was a great pass by Norman. I think it was Norman to set up that first try. Although they did hit the lead, it never really felt to me that they were ever a chance of winning, and that was just due to the injuries. So it's a hard one to judge, but I feel Red Radra is, he's almost a guaranteed 6 points to start off with. So you start off with 6 points because you know he's going to score, and just him not being there eliminates the whole threat of that like left-hand side. Now, I'm not sure. I can't really remember how good Vei Tautai is. I don't think he was that good. I think he was a little bit dodgy in defence, and his hands weren't that great. But I found with the Eels, it's sort of just throw it to Red Raja and hope he gets over. And it was working to start the season. It worked last year. I'm not sure how they're going to go. They haven't got Hayne to throw it back to do that sort of thing. And now they haven't got Red Raja at the back to do that too. So it sort of eliminates the threats down those sides. Takarangi is probably going to have to get a lot more involved. I know he's massive, big and strong, so if he gets some early ball out to him, he might be a little bit effective. Both Champion, I don't think a loss at all, to be honest with you. But then again, I don't really know too much about Ryan Morgan. Norman and Sandow, I thought they played very well. I mean, actually, we'll scratch Sandow out because he seemed injured. But on reflective and thinking about it a little bit more, I don't think he actually was that good. A few little chip and chases didn't pay off, which is, you got to take the good with the bad in Sandow. The first week he does it, it works out. Everyone says, what a legend, what a great player. Cristiano Dahlia medal winner. He tries it this week, and Bulldogs sort of know it's coming. They expect it because it just happened last week. To chase some points, it's not going to work out. You can't really slam him because you know what's going to happen. I thought Norman has really stepped up this year. I don't know if it's the threat of foreign coming to the side, but either way, Norman's been very impressive so far. Not said it's been 2 games, so you don't want to get ahead of yourself. But I think he's a key to this side if they win. Because Sandow, you can sort of carry him a little bit. He's just got to have one little bit of magic, and see, I know that's really weird to say about halfback, but that's just how he is. Also, Hopoate needs to get way more involved. Just needs to get in there. And also, Watmo, for such an experienced player, just a few little stupid things last week. Now I know he was also a little bit injured last week as well. Once again, for the Warriors, I think their spine really needs to step up. Barring Tomkins, because he was great last week. But Townsend, Johnson, Illawarra, they need to get their shit together. Especially like Townsend, because you think Johnson, he will never get dropped, but Townsend he doesn't do anything really. He's not great in attack, not great in defence. And you got Lolo here stuck in the centres, and I believe he's a 5'8", and he looked great at fullback. So I mean, they could always move Lolo here to 5'8", or they can move Tomkins to 5'8", Lolo here to fullback. They've got a few options there, but if I had to pick a winner, I'm going to say the Warriors, just because I think Eels will have too many injuries, and the Warriors are at home. It's their first home game, I think. So I'll expect a victory. I'm going to say 13+, because I think they're going to step up in front of a home crowd, and I think Eels might just run out of steam. But yeah, that's just an opinion though. Moving on to the Raiders taking on the Dragons. This is at Canberra. We'll go over the Canberra side first because they're the home side. So we'll start off with Jordan Rapana, Sisa Wonga, Croker, Kennedy, Lee, Austin, Cornish, Boyd, Hodgson, Tills, Papali, Soliola, Fenton, and the bench is McCrone, Nuasala, Vaughan, and Bateman. The Dragon side is Peter Matadia, Nabuli, Nielsen, Farrell, Nightingale, WIddop, Marshall, Armour, Rain, Rose, Frizzell, Thompson, DeBellin, and the bench is Merrin, Lestrange, O'Brien, Cooper, and Marquito. Notice first off, I just got to say, I really don't understand why they got Trent Merrin on the bench, especially with Ben Cray. Like, I could understand maybe if Ben Cray was in that lock position because he's been there for a long time and Merrin's leaving that. But to start Jack DeBellin over Trent Merrin, I just don't get it. It really doesn't make sense to me. Now, the Raiders, they went down to the Warriors, but I thought they looked pretty solid. They had a few chances here and there. Jack Whiten is a big loss for them. I think he's... I know it's very early to say on, but he's been a bit of a revelation at fullback. I mean, he did play there at the end of last year, and he played very well then. So I suppose we can go on that. But Rapana, he also played fullback last year at the end of the season. He looked pretty good there as well. I think an injury forced Whiten there. So, Rapana, I think he can do the job. I believe he trained at fullback during the off-season, so should be able to step in and do a job. It's just a matter of it leaves the centre spot a little bit open. And now Jarrod Kennedy has to move from the forwards with Edric Lee onto the wing. I mean, I don't know if that's how they'll line up in the actual game, but that's how they've been named. More could come later on because this has been recorded on a Tuesday night, if you haven't realised. So there's that. Forward pack seems pretty strong. Papali back into the second row. He'd been playing prop. I probably would have left him at front row, but whatever, that's just me. Soliola, I think he's been really, really good. Fenton, just, use yourself. I think the halves really need to step up. I think Austin and Cornish, they just lack a little bit of direction. They don't really lead the team around a little bit. Now, I didn't really expect that from Austin, but maybe Cornish just to do it a little bit more. And I feel Austin, when he was at his best for the Tigers, and also it might be a bit unfair for Blake Austin because he looked pretty good in a very shit Tiger side where nothing was really expected for him. Now he's coming to the Raiders where there's a little bit of expectation on him. He's coming to be a starting 5'8". He's there straight up 5'8", replacement for Campese, the long time 5'8". Expecting him to be pretty decent, and he plays what's in front of him, and if nothing's really there, well then it doesn't really work out for him. So they need to find little bit of middle ground where he can sort of direct it a little bit more, as well as be an opportunist. Moving on to the Dragon side, I thought they looked shit. Let's be totally honest. No beating around the bush. They look shit. I think they've looked shit all season. They got away with the Storm just not being really great in attack. Obviously, we saw with Manly, Storm a bit hot and cold. I mean, obviously, they didn't get a hot streak, but that first week, they were just crap. It was a boring game. Second week, they just get obliterated by Tigers, and I don't particularly rate the Tigers very highly, so Dragons, I just can't really say anything positive about them apart from they're kicked in the bully very often, and I hope he gets a try for my Supercoach team, because he didn't get many points last week. I think WIddop and Benji Marshall didn't really do much. I just think ever since even the preseason, looking at their Rabbitohs Dragons side, Dragons had a lot of ball in the Charity Shield and they did absolutely nothing with it. And from then I was just like, Dragons don't look that good in attack. Like, so much opportunities and they did nothing. And that was with Dugan. Now Dugan's not with them. Mataudia, he did quite good. I think he threw a nice little pass for one of the tries, or maybe they dropped it. Can't remember. I believe they did score, but he's fit in there pretty okay, but it's just overall the side just doesn't do much for me. Standards pretty uninspiring. The Nightingale and the Bully are pretty good. You'd think the halves look like a good, make it look like a better side than probably what it is. 4-pack's pretty average, and the bench is, once again, it's pretty average. I don't know if it was just me, but I thought Lestrange looked okay. It's sort of gone a little bit off Mitch Rain lately. When he first came on the scene, I was thinking, he's going to be a pretty good hooker, but just seems to sort of just stayed how he was. If I had to make a prediction, I'm going to say Raiders 1-12, so I don't really think either side's got many points in them, but at the same time, I think Raiders would just be too solid, especially at home. Moving on to the Storm and the Sharks, go through Melbourne side. We've got Billy Slater, Tonomapia, Chambers, Mann, Korobedi, Green, Cronk, Bromwich, Jesse Bromwich that is, Smith, McLean, Proctor, Harris, Finucane in the benches, Hinchcliffe, Glasby, Weston and Leroy Lars. The Sharks lineup is Gordon, Fecky, Bill, Latelli, Holmes, Barba, Robson, Fifita, Ennis, Takatizi, Bakuya, Graham Gallen, and the benches Pryor, Huntington, Tupou, David Fifita, Lewis and Arona, 18th and 19th man. It'll be interesting to see if Luke Lewis makes his way into the side. Two to be omitted. I'm not sure who they'll be. Now, I can only really comment on previous week for the Storm because I didn't watch the Broncos game. I saw everyone saying it was really boring and that sort of stuff, so I didn't bother watching it. And by the score, seems like they were all correct. Everyone keeps saying it was boring, like after the game as well. So I'm gonna trust everybody, Matthew Johns and all that, on those sort of shows, and assume that it was a very shitty game, that both the Sharks and the Broncos played terrible, and Broncos sort of just got lucky with it. So Storm, I can comment on them. If you take just like the way they ended the game against Manly, very impressive. But for the most part, I thought they looked a little bit lacking, and I don't know, it just feels like they're just lacking one more player that has a little bit of punch. Now, I know Blake Green did a great job, he scored a few tries, but I feel like a player like Ben Roberts, someone who, can break open a game, they're just missing another one. There's too much pressure on Smith and Cronk. They're getting a little bit older, and Slater, getting a little bit older, and a lot of teams, they know that they're going to try and do certain things. So I think Ryan Hoffman probably is a big loss. Probably a bigger loss than what you expect. He just runs great holes for Cronk. And we saw last week, I think it was Glasby, ran a few Hoffman-like holes and it worked pretty effectively. I think he got cut down by Stewart, which should have been a try, but they didn't give it. But yeah, they do have players who can run the holes. Proctor's another one. Harris can do it. Finucane, not so much. Not really a hole runner, just sort of like another prop at the lock position. But yeah, I just really think the backs really need to step up. I think like players like Kurt Mann and Korobedi, they need to step up, really. And the forwards just need to muscle up a little bit. For the Sharks, I mean, like I said, I can't really comment on them, but from what I've seen, they just look total shit. Halves combination not working. Ennis, who, he's a good defender, but still lacking in attack, which doesn't help Barba and that sort of stuff, considering they sort of need someone to help him because Barba's not a great kicker or anything like that. I'm not sure what the solution is. I'm not sure if you move Barba to fullback or you drop him or move Gordon to the wing and Holmes to fullback. I don't know what the solution is. I know the Carney thing was out of their hands. They sort of had to get rid of him, but I don't know. It just feels like haven't really thought about this much. They sort of just got Barba last minute to throw him in there. I know New Brown or whatever his name is. I know he probably could have stepped in there, at least made it a competition for that spot. But yeah, I just don't know what's to go over there. Maybe Wade Graham could play 5'8". If you look at their forward pack on paper, it looks pretty good, but I don't know. They're sort of an aging pack apart from Wade Graham. Actually, that's completely wrong. They're more of a hot and gold team, I should say, a forward pack. And obviously Fifita, Take It Easy can also play, barnstorming game. Peculiar, a few players there who have the potential to just rip apart a side, but like I said, they're just so inconsistent. And I think Storm, they've got a lot of consistent players, so I'm going to back the Storm. I'm going to say 13 plus because I think Storm showed enough for me to say that they've got a lot of points in them from the back end of the Manly game. And I think they'll just put a score on the Sharks. Sharks just don't really have it. Just the whole team doesn't really show much for me. And I know I said they'd make the top 8 in my predictions video, but after actually seeing the teams play, they just look crap. That's where the video is going to end. And that's went on a lot. Probably talked a lot of crap in it. But if you can drop a like, that'd be very much appreciated. If you can subscribe to my channel, also very much appreciated. If you want to follow me on Twitter, my handle is @MrLukeOnMyT. I've got a Facebook page in the description below. And if you want to leave any comments, that sort of stuff, make sure you do that. I'll reply to all of them. Also, just remember, these are only opinions. These aren't facts. So if I got anyone wrong, or if I went against your side, or said anything bad about your favourite player, like, it's nothing personal. It's just an opinion. Like, it could change. The chances are in like 3 or 4 weeks' time, if you came back, I'd have a totally different opinion on some of these people. That's where I'm going to end it. Hopefully you have enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.